Hey everyone, welcome back to the shop. It's Thursday afternoon, probably about, I don't know, 2 o'clock. Been busy, real busy. Spending a lot of time playing with the dope again. There's been little sprinkles on and off during the day. Luckily nothing where it's been major downpours, so it's kind of doing a little bit of work on the bench, throwing it inside the garage, bringing it back out, start sprinkling, put it back in the garage. So I've got a lot of stuff done. I've got about 2 coats of nitrate dope into the wood just to seal it, because with all the sanding going on it starts getting fuzzy, especially on the end grain. And what the nitrate dope does is it penetrates the wood and it kind of hardens it. So when you sand it, it doesn't get that fuzzy anymore. So what you end up doing is about, just on the wood alone, it's about 2 coats of dope, and then sand it. Put another 2 coats of dope on, and then sand it. And then you put one final coat on, and then you sand it again with like some 220. And then from there it's ready to cover, because you've got a really nice smooth surface and all the little fuzzies are gone. So let me grab my little friend and throw him back up on the bench and kind of see where it's going. I gotta weigh it because it's getting really heavy now. You might have seen that lumber yard walk by. There she is. She's back up on the top. It's easier for me just to throw the wings on, and what I'm doing is I'm starting on one side, going all the way around that, and then coming back and then finishing. So there's 2 coats done. All this is taken care of. This still has to come off. I've got to do a couple little things on this. As you can see, the clouds are kind of, I mean, it's broken. It doesn't look pretty, but so these little tabs need to be cut off. There we go. These little tabs need to be cut off because they weren't there in real life. So that's just going to be a matter of coming in and figuring out how I want to cut these. I might just do a 90-degree to this bevel. I don't know. These are good. As you can see, I've got to put a lot of filler in. So these things are going to be coming off very soon. I'm going to come in. This I've got, oh sorry about that, I've got about four coats of dope on this, because this is all end grain coming out forward like this. Personally, I'd have had the grain running in this direction when I put it on there, but when the original builder put everything on level, so then you run into the problem with all the end grain. So this has, you could probably hear the knocking sound. Normally balsa doesn't sound like that, so this is got a good hard surface on it, so next time I sand it, it should be pretty good. This I've got a little bit of a repair to do, but I'm going to go ahead and sand all of this down, and then I'll throw a couple coats of dope on it. Here's what I'm using. It's Randolph non-tautening nitrate dope. You mix that with just some good lacquer thinner, because it is a lacquer. You mix it 50-50, and here's what I've got in the little bucket right now, and I don't know if you're going to see it. It's got a little bit of an orange tinge to it. It's actually clear. That orange is from the leftover paint and whatever on the ends down here, so that just gets picked up. Not concerned about that color orange coming out, because the plane's going to be painted orange, so that's fine by me. So anyway, so this is what I'm going to do next. I'm going to just take this off, sand it down, a couple coats of dope on it, and then I'm going to flip the bird upside down because I need to do the underside of the wing. So I'll bring it back for that. It'll be just a little speedy up video for you. And then what I think I'm going to do, you can't really see it from here. Whoa! Let me pick up the tail. Tell you what, you throw all this weight, you throw everything on her right now, and she's heavy. Let me get the piece of wood out of the way. I had to use a t-shirt to tie this because they just kept popping apart. What I think I may do is I may come on in, see if I can balance the plane on my head. There we go, I'm multitasking. I think I'm going to come in and drill the hole through and put some quarter 20. I may just put some quarter 20 nylons in there right now just to kind of, and then I'll get some of my number 216 O-rings. I got like 100 of them upstairs. And just put some O-rings on here just to hold this up. Just so that way I've got something on there that I can trust, because once you get this thing up on the stand and this side let go on one side, and luckily because the wheel here, it can't slide out, so it still locked itself in, but I wasn't happy about that. So anyway, all right, let me get some sanding needs to be done there. I'm still hemming and hawing how I want to do this. I'll figure this part out some other time, because these things in real life had a little covering. So I'm debating if I want to have this whole front windscreen come up and have it come over on the edge and overlap this by, you know, maybe, I don't know, a good quarter inch, just so it covers the gap, and then run that all the way back to here. I just haven't decided if I want to do all this out of plastic. That's just going to be kind of nutso. So anyway, here's the elevator, and I wish y'all had fill-o-vision or feel-o-vision, because it's pretty good. You might be able to see up close. There's a couple little spots I need to throw a little more filler in, but all these have been filled, sanded down smoothly, and then I put some nitrate dope on it, and it's ready to be sanded down again. And then I'll just throw a little more filler on where it needs to be filled, and we can almost call them done. See, it needs some fill here, some down in here, and I still have to figure out what I want to do with this stuff up in here. So that's going to end up being filled, but I don't know how I want it to. I don't know. I got to figure that one out. This is going to be a strange looking tail. Unfortunately, I won't really know the way it's going to look until I cover it, and that's when all the ugliness can come out. So anyway, all right, let me set you back up in the stand, and we'll get back to work. because it's what I do, I forget to hit the button. So hey, at least it's a practice session. All right, here's kind of where we're at. When I picked her up and flipped her upside down, I decided she's becoming a little piggy. So I went upstairs and got my little postal scale, threw her on the scale. With everything, with the elevator, the rudder, and landing gear at the wheels, she was just a click over 17 pounds. So it's it's a big plane. So she's about 17 pounds the way she sits naked right now. This little gem with the carb weighs about 7 1/4 pounds. That's with the exhaust system. I didn't throw the prop in on it, you know, so it's going to be, you know, whatever the prop weighs, it's going to be relatively light. But so we're looking at about 24 and a half pounds. Let's just throw the servos in there, the batteries and the tank and everything. We're probably going to be somewhere around a pound and a half-ish. By the time I throw the covering on and the paint, we're going to be looking at about another 1.5 pounds, 2 pounds. So we're probably going to be somewhere around 27 and a half, 28 pounds, which is about kind of where I thought it would be. There's people that have built this plane and they've had it pushing 30 pounds. So as long as I don't have to throw any lead in the nose, it's going to be, it should be pretty good. This motor should put out somewhere in the 25 plus pounds of thrust, you know, and it's gonna lift that plane and fly it around fine. It won't be an unlimited vertical, and I didn't plan on it, and I didn't want it to be. It's only gonna go vertical for a short period of time, just like the real one would. So it's gonna be about the same way that my little clipped wing cub is. A little clipped wing cub. It's a 15-pound plane, and you could probably get about pretty close to that in thrust out of that Zenoa G23. It might be 13, 14 pounds of thrust. It's got a very limited vertical on it, but you know, I have fun flying it because it's the way you know, the plane is. So anyway, that was the bad news. I was kind of hoping it was going to come out about 2 pounds lighter than it really is, but that's the first time I weighed it all in one. So we're just going to keep chugging right along. Let me go ahead, I'll dope up the bottom of the plane, and then I'll pull it apart. And from there, oh, I almost dropped the motor. And then from there, I'm going to come in and wish I had done this earlier, but I didn't. Let's bring you a little higher up so you can see my beautiful face. Alright, what I'm going to do here, I'm going to come in, probably a 1/4 inch drill, and drill through. I don't know. I don't know how I'm going to get through there with a 1/4 inch yet. That's going to be the fun part. I don't know. I'm going to have to figure that one out. I don't really need a 1/4 inch for this. I could probably go down to a 3/16. I do have a 3/16 drill bit that if I wanted to, I can come in through here first. Through this, I don't know, it's not really a former, but we'll kind of call it a former. I can come through here first and pop right through there, so I can make something work. But then I can go up to the car, get my little number 216 O-rings, and I can wrap them here, strap them around, so that way this, I don't have to worry about this falling apart, because I had to use an old t-shirt to tie this one from collapsing, because I don't want this thing to fall off the table and break something else. So, all right, let me get everything set up. I'll do a little more painting off camera, and then I'll bring you back when it comes time to drill some more holes, and we'll try to get that hooked up. Hey, it's me again. You never guess what happened. I tried to figure out a bunch of different ways to drill the holes through here with having enough room, because even with my little drill, I just couldn't do it because this was in the way. So you never guess what I had to do. I had to get my old friend out. So we made a lot of smoke cutting through it, and it's out. Now I've got plenty of room. Let's go ahead and decide how far down we want this to be. No, that's pretty good right about there. I've already got a mark on there. Let's call that the mark. And I'm hoping you can hear me okay. I'm pretty far away, and there's a lot of noise out here. Alright, so that's where it's going through. Sorry about that. Let me get my little marquee tool, just so I can get an oversized dent in the wood just to get it started. Now let me grab a scrap piece to put on the backside. Because I know it's going to want to blow some wood out the backside. As long as my fingers don't get in the way, we should be good as gold. Good as gold. Now is going to come the fun part. I'm hoping that it's fairly straight. There's one. There's two. That's looking pretty good. Alright, now let me figure out what I want to put through there. Alright. We were out of memory. So I got the chance to cut some little 1/4-inch rods and pop them through with a hammer without you guys watching. Alright, it's the I was really hoping that these O-rings that I got for the cub would be more than sufficient, and you know they're not, so you know, go figure. So what I'm going to do right now, I can kind of make them work just for static. If I cross them like that, and it's pretty solid. So that's what we'll do just for right now. I'll probably end up finding some longer O-rings or make my own. I've got I got some orange bungee cord that I can go ahead and try to make some of my own. I've made them before in the past for other planes, and they've worked out quite well. So who knows? I may just go ahead and do the same for this little gem, and that way it'll be something that I could trust, because these little, that's pretty good. These aluminum dowels are not what's going to be in there. I'll probably have something, probably be a bolt, maybe even a shouldered bolt. If I could find a 1/4 bolt with enough shoulder so that when it comes through I can have it stand off. I'll figure something out. I'll figure something out. So anyway, we're pretty much ready to glue this little piece back on, so I'll go make some glue, come out, glue it back in place, and then this much is done. Then I'll take the wings off and get back to work on, because I did get, let me go get them for you so you can see them, because sometimes we do things just out of pride, and sometimes we're just cheap and we don't want to spend the money. Alright, I normally get good servo horns, which I'll show you. Alright, here's what I decided to do for the servo arms. I've used these guys in the past, and I really like them. It's SWBs. They're good, rock solid. It's 440, I believe it's 440. Yeah, it looks like it's tapped for 440, but the 3mm hole for the servo. I don't have a problem spending $50 on 4 servo horns, but then you throw in shipping, and I just decided, no, it's not going to happen. So I did something that I don't normally do, and it's, you know, if it's something where you're looking to save some cash and you're going to hope and trust that it's going to work, there's a little company called Value Hobby. It's relatively local to us here in Illinois. It's probably about, I don't know, 15 miles south of here. So, and I've gotten stuff from them in the past, and it's decent stuff. Would it be top of the line? You know, who knows? But I could be paying $15 for one of those things plus shipping. I can get that for $4 plus very little shipping. So this I think is going to work out fine with the spread on it. I think I can use the inside holes on it. They are Futaba 25 tines, 25 of them, which is what Savick servos uses. There we go. So they do fit nicely. So I've got one for the elevator, one for the rudder, and then these were $2 a piece. 1.5 inch for the ailerons. So I got 2 of those. So right now I'm pretty much good to go for servo horns. Plus they were here in 2 days, versus it was going to cost me, it was probably going to take over a week to get them out of A Main Hobbies out of California. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go ahead and use those. Now it's going to be time to, I don't need the wings on for this one. The wings are going to come off. I got to strip those things down, and that's going to be kind of like some after work stuff where I've just got to do the final little things. I got to put the servo horn mounts on the aileron, both ailerons, and I've got to put the servo horn mounts on the rudder because I'm going to go with the Dubro one. So this is the thing. It's just a little thinking around stuff because I have to figure out how I want to have the pull cables come through for the rudder. I think, because even though the plane's upside down, it should be coming out somewhere right in here. And what I may have to do, because I'm going to make this little box so that I can get to the lower connector for the elevator, I may incorporate on that box a little plate that goes from here to here that's going to have a nylon tube come through, that the cables can go through the nylon tube. It's going to come like this through the nylon tube, and then it's going to crisscross. It's going to form an X and then split off. So I think that that's what I'm going to do. So that's going to take, it's going to take a little bit of time of fudging around to figure out how I want to build this one before I sit down and do it. So you'll get a video on this little, at least a video clip on the build on this. I'll just have everything thought about ahead of time, cut out, ready to glue back into place, and we'll go through another boring explanation of how I'm doing it, because that's what I do. So anyway, yeah, let me get the wing off, and I'll take the wing off and then figure out how far I want to jump back in. I may go back into the shop, and hopefully you can see it. Yep. And see if I can hunt around to find that that piece. If not, I'll just get a piece of cardboard and I'll just take a few minutes and make a new one. Because I've got to make my little, I got to make some little, oops, forgot to glue that in. I got to make some little mounts around here. So I'm going to put in some light ply with a little U cut out here and a little U cut out in the front. That way I've got a solid base on the bottom. Up to this point, and then all the rest is just going to be, because I may put a little piece of wood in the back so that if something does happen, it can't, it's not necessary. Probably won't do it. I'll make it work.